Story 1. Bank of America predicts analog chip makers like AD, ON, Tickets N, and ALGM will see 50 to 100% AI-driven sales growth in 2026. This surge is driven by rising power management demand in data centers and industrial markets. Analyst forecasts highlight ADI targeting $460 with 19% upside, on up 68% YTD. Texan at $370 and ALGM up 90% YTD. Story 2. Nvidia, with a $5 trillion market cap, remains the world's most valuable company. SpaceX, valued at $2 trillion despite a 4.3 big quarterly loss, may challenge its lead in 5 years if it achieves projected 5,065 big height in sales. Profitability concerns and slowing AI demand make Nvidia's dominance more likely. Story 3. At midday on July 13th, the Nasdaq slipped 1.06% to 26,002.95, and the S&P 500 fell 0.49% to 7,538.37 as growth sectors weakened. Gold dropped 1.78% to 4,001 tons to 70 cents. The 10-year Treasury yield rose to 4.6%, and SK Hynix's 15% plunge in South Korea dragged down semiconductor stocks, while WTI crude surged 4.6% to $75 amid Middle East tensions, according to the Motley Fool. Story 4. A coalition of 12 states, led by California Attorney General Rob Bonta, sued to block Paramount Skydance's $110 billion merger with Warner Bros Discovery, arguing it would harm competition, reduce job opportunities, raise prices for consumers, and control nearly one-third of U.S. cable programming and movie production, despite DOJ clearance in June. Story 5. U.S. stock indexes dipped as chip stocks plummeted following a record 15% drop in SK Hynix and a 5.5% fall in Korea's Kiospy, with Micron and Nvidia also sliding. Oil prices rose over 3% amid Strait of Hormuz tensions. Nasdaq fell 0.7%, S&P 500 in 0.3%, and Dow 0.2%. Story 6. As of 11:45 a.m. AT, the S&P 500 fell 0.39% to 7,546.18. The Nasdaq dropped 0.92% to 26,039.24 on tech weakness, and the Dow dipped 0.21% to 52,528.23. Supported by energy stocks amid a 5% oil price surge and geopolitical tensions between the U.S. and Iran, according to the Motley Fool. Story 7. 12 U.S. states, led by California, filed a lawsuit to block Paramount's $101 billion acquisition of Warner Bros Discovery. They argue that the massive media merger would reduce market competition, drive up subscription prices, and negatively impact both consumers and industry workers. The legal challenge proceeds despite explicit support from the U.S. Department of Justice and ongoing regulatory reviews in other countries. Story 8. Retail investors shifted away from Magnificent Seven stocks like Apple, Tesla, and Nvidia, with vendor-tracked data showing net outflows from these names, while buying Microsoft and Nvidia. Even as the S&P 500's advanced decline line hit records and chip stocks like SK Hynix and the stocks lagged amid broader market breadth expansion. Story 9. A coalition of 12 state attorneys general, led by California and New York, has filed a lawsuit to block the massive $110 billion acquisition of Warner Bros Discovery by Paramount and Skydance. The states argue the merger would severely reduce competition, as just 4 major studios now control 86% of theatrical film distribution and hold a combined 27% share of the cable market. Despite federal approval of the deal, state officials warn that this consolidation could lead to higher subscription prices for consumers and a significant reduction in diverse content.